Hi, and welcome to the virtual review. I'm Grant,
And I'm Adam.
and this week we will be discussing Endless Space, an endless runner where you're in a hover ship craft, flying through a futuristic city, swinging your head about, trying to avoid smashing your face into buildings and pyramids.
I think you've just done my job for me. That's exactly what it is.
So why don't you tell us about it, Adam?
So yeah, it is a take on the endless runner genre, although rather than running from left to right as you would usually in a game like this, like Anabolt, you're flying forwards with a hover ship, like in the style of Wipeout on the old PlayStation.
Yeah, and what just popped into my head was that it's kind of like a Tron environment with all your neon lights running up the buildings and pyramids.
That's an interesting point because the color scheme's very Tron as well,
It's got
isn't
that
it?
blue, yeah.
Yeah, it's got that blue outline with the silvery grey textures.
Yeah, I hadn't picked it and just popped into my head. But
How
cool.
interesting.
But yeah, and Wipeout. And I thought I'd mention that Wipeout's actually how Adam and I became mates.
Love at first sight, wasn't it?
It was beautiful. Over a couple of schooners at a local pub, and we both discovered that we were both enormous fans of PS1 Wipeout 2097.
Yeah, 2097 in particular. I think that's my favourite game of all time. It's a cracker of a game.
So we're suckers for hovercraft games.
We are.
Flying as fast as we can through cities.
Yeah, that's right. So this one was an easy sell on me. It's just super fun.
An easy sell because it's free.
And it's free as well. There are some elements where you can pay to enhance the experience.
Did you do any of those?
I didn't know, although I probably will. Like, I think I've exhausted about all the free content that I can get through at this point. So you can pay for extra ships, which seem to give you extra firepower and smaller size, so easier to navigate through those buildings.
Right.
Which brings me to my...
And wasn't there also a fire mechanism as well? You could perhaps get more bullets to save yourself? Or...
That was one of my minor niggles with this game. So I felt like the fire thing was a bit tacked on. I would have preferred something like a slowdown feature for when you're going too fast.
Look, I gotta say, I've played this game a whole bunch of times. And once I noticed the laser shot out the front of my ship and I couldn't get the laser fire again. By the time I started my next go around, I think I'd forgotten about the laser, and I've still got no idea about this laser.
It's not super clear that it's a feature. Like, it does show you when you pick your ship. I think there's two attributes. One says fire and one says size. And in front of the free ship, it just says fire 1.
So you've got the largest ship and you've got one bullet.
That's right, yeah. So you can use that as a kind of like a get out of jail free card. You can shoot it and everything in front of you for a couple of seconds will basically be disintegrated. I didn't have that much success with it. I found while I was fumbling around with that, I was getting killed anyway. I think I had my best run when I didn't use it at all.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of time to take your eyes off of what you're doing. Once the game begins, you're in. You're off.
Yeah, and it is super fast. I guess one other minor niggle would be the draw distance on the buildings and things that are coming up in front of you. So
I kind of got into that as an aesthetic. Like, I started tapping into watching those final frames
see them
drop
pop up.
in, so I could plan my route through everything.
It almost reminds you of the PS1 days too, doesn't it? Where you can see the city popping up in front of you and stuff like that. So it was almost like a nostalgic trip.
I think we had a bash through Colin McRae rally not too long ago, and it was a lot like that.
Yeah.
You see trees popping up.
It is.
That's how you pick where you're going to drive, where the track is, because you can.
Yeah, sure.
Pick to fly or drive between the trees.
Yeah, so another thing with this was, so it is pseudo randomly generated. What I mean by that is, it's broken up into, I want to say checkpoints, but they're not checkpoints because you don't start from that checkpoint. So I guess like levels, as you said, and you play through the first section first, then the next section. But whenever you die like an endless runner, you always go back to the start.
The
best endless runners I've played, they'll mix in all those elements from the very, very start of the game, and the logic is smart enough to make it go from easy to hard as best they can. Whereas this, you're playing through the first bit, then the second bit, then the third bit every single time, even though they're randomizations within those parts. Could have been a little bit more interesting with mixing in those elements.
Yeah, I found this frustrating as well, because you're back to the start and there's nothing specific for you to shoot out of your way. There's no better route to take. There's no pickups or anything to strive for. So it's kind of monotonous to go back to the start and just run through the city again. I don't feel like I'm learning how to fly the ship better. I don't feel like I'm learning a better path or route or anything.
Yeah, which to be fair is kind of part and parcel with the endless runner genre, but I think there's a little bit more they could get out of this game.
So it's because it's taking maybe 2 minutes to have a run.
It probably feels like 2 minutes, but I think if we timed it, it'd be less than a minute.
Yeah.
That's my guess anyway.
And of course, you can always look over your shoulder and see me running through it, trying to get a score better than yours, Adam. What did you get?
I got just short of 7,000. 69.50 was my best.
And I cracked that 7,000 and I got 72... I don't know. I got 7,200.
Whatever you got, it was better than me.
It was a lot better than
and I'm
what
sure
you
if
got.
I got 8,000, you would have had 8.5.
Hey, it's on video. I'm sure if you look over your shoulder, there is a 7,200 hit.
For that reason alone, this won't be the last time I've played this game. I'll crack
You
that
want to
score.
top that?
I will top that score.
Yeah, no, I probably... Because the powering up is cheap. I think a ship, the better ships are $1 each or something. I'm sure to throw a $1 down on a different ship to try and get
that's
a bit
right.
more play
And
out
there's
of this
different
game.
levels as well that we could chuck $1 in here and there and play through some different levels.
Yeah, and the thing is, it works. Like, I'm finding more and more often there's a lot of games and apps that tend to crash, or they're just glitchy all the way through. So this is another one I've kept a hold of because, hey, it opens every time, it plays smooth every time, and delivers.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that trade-off with the draw distance is probably just the fact that they are a smart developer and they're focusing on the frame rate and the experience rather than, here's a massive environment. But a game like this, you really need those good frame rates and super smooth experiences.
Yeah, or even just drag out the speed-up process, because every time I feel like I'm just starting to get comfortable and into the game, and boom, I'm exploded into a sphere of broken pixels.
Yeah, sure. And I guess if these guys had infinite time, they could probably extrapolate on this experience and make it a much more full-fledged game. But as it is, it's a great little experience. I really recommend it.
You know what they nailed?
What's that?
Is looping the music.
Yes. Remember last week?
With Brick Collision, it was just off and a nanosecond that threw your groove off, and it was a real bit gross to listen to.
Bit of a cringe factor, isn't it? And
this grows well. It's got a sense of urgency which adds to the game. It loops nice, and it's got enough to it that it's not too repetitive.
Everything's just super smooth and well put together. It's a really nice presented package, isn't it?
It's an excellent package.
Yeah.
Especially for
low price of nothing.
Low price of nothing. That's what I was going to say. Anything else you want to add about Endless Space?
I guess, one minor niggle would just be the color palette. Although I feel bad for even whinging about that because I haven't played the other levels. I've just played the first level. It is very grey and blue. There's not a lot else going on.
You think there's more levels?
Well, you can buy extra levels.
Oh, can you? I didn't pick up on that.
You can buy, I think there's at least 2 other levels that you can buy, and maybe 3 other ship that you can buy.
Alrighty, I've got to get much better at sorting through the menu screens on these games, obviously. And what's a level worth, Adam?
Off the top of my head, it could have only been $1. I'm not sure, but it was quite cheap from memory.
All right, well, maybe we can grab another couple of levels in future. And
sure, maybe I will even beat you this time.
Return back to this and have another chat about Endless Space.
Endless Space, that's the one.
So that wraps us up for this episode, I do believe.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to try and tackle something a little larger, a game called Age of Diamonds. Much like Brick Collision, which we spoke about last week, this is another kind of breakout type of game. You haven't seen this yet, have you?
I haven't played this yet, so this is going to be a new experience for me.
So it's much like throwing around a ball to break bricks again, but there's a few new elements, and pretty sure it was free for what I remember, and I think I'm probably about 15, 20 levels into it, and it looks like there's a whole slew to come.
So I've got some catching up to do by the sound of it. I've got to say I'm really enjoying these arcadey type experiences that we're doing in VR.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the games kind of are...
just by nature.
Yeah, and the limitations of the device.
Yeah, and yeah, like it just appeals to my getting the best score mentality, you know, like ghosts and goblins, that kind of thing. Don't die, you know, like just get as far as you can, get that best score. And competitively, like, you know, you posting a good score and then me trying to beat it and vice versa. Like that's what, like, to me, you know, old school gaming and being a gamer is all about. So I'm really enjoying
setting that challenge and breaking it. And we'd love to hear from you. If you're knocking out some great scores on these games, let us know.
Unless they're too good, don't send us anything that we can't beat.
He's not that soft, I swear, and he's pretty sharp. But I think you're yet to top me on any of these games we've been yapping about.
Yeah, that's a good point. You have beat me at Smash Hit too, so it's time for me to do a little bit of homework, and I'll come back with some unbeatable scores, no doubt.
One last thing is that at this point, hopefully, if everything is going according to plan, I'll be posting playthroughs of all the games that we're playing front to back on my other channel, Never Die, and I'll post a link to that in the info box, assuming everything is running smoothly and that process is working. So until our next episode, thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Virtual Review. I am Grant.
I'm Adam.
And we will see you next episode with Age of Diamonds.
See you then.
This episode of the Virtual Review was brought to you by Sense Immerse. Immerse your senses in a new reality.